Okay. I have a quick question. And
Yeah,
I do some of the EPFs,
yeah,
but I hand them in. I don't take them much past that. And I
got it.
noticed that Keoka Parks and Luis is not on this. And I think that they actually handle them to a different degree than I do. I mean, I
Got it.
print them out and give it to them. Um, I get the funding strip from Kyoka,
Right.
I put on, especially I'm only usually doing them
Hmm.
in response to having an invoice already. So
Got it.
just kind of a heads up.
Thanks. No, that's helpful for me for sure. Thanks for telling me. I did invite Kyoka. She couldn't make it, so I'll reach out to her again later. I mean, we'll focus just kind of mostly. I'll show you guys the entire app just to show you how it works, but we'll focus mainly on, I think, what you guys are going to be doing, which is just kind of like submitting the forms, right? All right, thanks for joining. I think we have everyone here. I'm Eddie McDonough. I'm a project manager on the SPPI team. So I didn't actually develop this app, but I'm working on some of my other ones that are unrelated. But I'm training here, so I might not have the answers to all the questions you might have, but if I can't answer the question, I'll write it down and get back to you with the answer. But I'm kind of just like supporting the app. So any questions you have surrounding the app, or if you're actually submitting an invoice through the app and, you have any questions or any issues, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to hop on a call with you, right, and kind of walk it through or anything. So I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you guys the app, and I'll just kind of walk through kind of from the start all the way to the final submittal, just so you can kind of see how it works. And we'll run through it pretty quick just because there's a lot of clicks, but we're recording this training so you can view it back later. And then feel free to interrupt at any time for any questions, comments, or thoughts while I'm doing it. I'm going to share my screen so you can see some emails. Can everyone see this? If not, let me know,
Yes.
but I'm
Yes.
thank you. Sorry, I know you're all on mute. I appreciate it. So here's the app. There's a couple of different kind of dashboards for different views. So the app is actually live right now, so you could start using it if you like what you see. And then, like I said in the email, the idea is going to be to start using it kind of on a Goldilocks period starting in June, where we'll accept both kind of through the app or through kind of your current process. And then starting July 1st, depending on if we find any issues or not, but the goal is to start July 1st. We'll only start accepting, EPF submittals through this app for the ones that work through the app. So this is kind of your initiator dashboard, it's called, right? So anything you have, you can create draft ones, right? If you start working on one but need to come back to it later, you'll see it live in here. And then anything in process, right? So this is a demo quick one I made that I submitted, and I just put myself as the approver, and so I approved it, so you can kind of see ones that you submitted, and you can see the status of it down here in process. So these are anything that you started or that are assigned to you, you'll see it. Finance officer dashboard, right? So if you're a finance officer, it might not apply to you guys, but they can go here and see and kind of approve things that's in your inbox, or see the current things that are in status. So here's my demo one that was approved. Clerk dashboard. This is for, once the finance officer submits it to a clerk, you'll see it in here. And then admin view is just, you can see every single, EPF submitted through the app here, right? It's kind of the historical record here. And you can click into it, right, and see, right, any of the status and the amounts and things like that. So I think the main thing so any questions real quick on that? Just quick overview. And right now this is live, like I said, so there's this enter demo mode, which is, we're just going to click around here and play with it. So it won't actually be submitted live and create, real numbers for I think it's the PIV number. So I'm in demo mode, it's this nice yellow thing. So anything I do here, we can't really mess anything up or submit anything. So here's some of my other trainings, right, I did. So the main thing you guys are going to do, you click this plus button in the upper left corner, and that'll kind of, you start creating the new EPF here. So hopefully the form kind of looks somewhat familiar. I think it was modeled to kind of mimic what's currently in use. So this initiator is auto-populated with your name. You can fill in anything here, right? So you can put your phone number if you want, PO number here, right? Program name, vendor information. this year expense incurred, I want to call it real quick, right? It seems obvious most things are going to be current year, but you can select the previous year. Actually, that's just right for end of year switchovers, right? So you're, putting in an invoice in January, but it was, actually from 2022, you still have that option, right? So that's kind of why this is, you have the option to choose the year, just kind of for, year changeovers. Funding sources, right? You can fill all this information out. So I'm going to fill a quick one in here. So we're just going to call this demo Eddie. What's today? 5/18. I think put a slash. Let's try it. So that's that'll just be the name for the purpose of this, right? We can just put in, obviously these aren't going to be all the right ones, but I just want to demo the amounts here. See, so then it'll like auto calculate the amounts here. See, so like 1,000 totals it up for 2,000. Right now you can only have two funding sources, but I've been told maybe by the end of this week, it's going to increase. They'll be able to do more funding strips here. So it's still kind of in development, but right now only two. Going forward, I think, right, if I tab down, it would add like a third line pretty quick here. It's in development by the developer. And then invoice details. So wait, real quick, I want to take a pause. Any questions about what I've done so far before I keep going? Silence is golden. So feel free to interrupt me or stop me. I'm just going fast so we can kind of get through this and then let you guys do kind of a live demo with me on the call here. And so here, right, you could put any, what the invoice number is, if there needs to be any description that you want to include, you can type it in here. And then, so the reason this is highlighted yellow is it wants this total from the invoices to be equal to this total from kind of the funding strips. And the way the amount works is it's a calculated field. So it's like a quantity and then the cost per amount, right? So it makes sense if you're like, right, let's say you're buying, right, 10 reams of paper. I don't know, bad example, but like, right, so if I did 10 at this, right, it's 10,000, right? So it's like kind of a calculated field. So that's like, if it's a specific quantity, that's how that works. I was asked a good question in another training of mine that I was doing, right? Like sometimes it's a weird unit cost and quantity or doesn't line up, right? Where if it's like 6 and like the total amount was like 529, now you're gonna have to like pull out your phone and do like some calculations or something, right? Like it's gonna be a little like funky to get to like the exact number. And what we decided on that was like you just do one at like 529, and then you can go back in the description and say like it was actually like 6 units or whatever it said on the invoice, right? Just to get to the amount. So these are just like, it multiplies it out for you to get to it. So for this one, I'm just gonna do like maybe it's 2 and 500 to get me to the 1,000. Then you'll notice, right, it kind of grayed out here, and then scrolling down, the total's gray. That's because they match. Any questions around here? Does that kind of make sense to everybody? If you want, you can answer any. Yes.
I did have a question. This is Sarah Parkham. I am in the MICA Bureau. I'm a program director, and I really, really appreciate the development of this. I think this is going to be a game changer. I did have a couple of questions about the way the form is fillable. And so it's just based on the demo, it looks like it's like free text, right? Like it will not auto populate for you if you start to type. Okay. And does it have, I'm just trying to think for checks and balances in terms of if I put something, if I make an error in the form and then is
like if
there
this
a
is actually
way,
3 or something, but you put 2.
yeah, exactly. Or if I like put down a totally different address for the vendor or whatever.
Yep.
And so what is the process for like, does the clerk or like the finance officer kick it back to me to fix?
They have the option to return to initiator, it's called.
Oh, okay.
So I'll demo that once we like kind of submit this as a, example submit. But yes, good question. It can be sent back or it can be like edited. And, as you send it along, everyone has a chance to kind of review it and provide comments and approve or reject it.
Okay. And then there's no, like, none of these fields look like they're required necessarily, other than those two highlighted ones need to match.
That's not even required.
Oh,
Correct.
okay.
Nothing's actually required. Because,
Okay.
sometimes maybe it doesn't exist, right? Or every invoice is a little different or something like that.
I don't know if this
So it's
is
trying to be as
possible,
flexible as possible. What's that? I'm
which
sorry.
I appreciate that. I think that's great. I also wonder, I do not know, like, the way I fill out EPFs
Hmm.
now, I have a certain amount of information, but I never know things like the vendor code, or because I order off of, say, just make an example, our contract with Global Protection Corp, which
Hmm.
is where I buy condoms for our adolescent sexual health program. I never know what the vendor code is. So there's like
Right.
things I don't ever fill out on the EPF. And I just kind of figure, oh, my finance officer will tell me if it's wrong or if I need that, but I'm never sure if I am if I'm slowing the process down by not putting enough information. But then there's also, I do not know, like, is there a vendor code lookup, feature on any of
Hmm.
our systems? So
Mm,
I do
that's a
just
good
wonder
idea.
things like that.
I'm taking a note. I like the idea of a vendor code lookup because that's something we could definitely do. It's just a match. So, so we can add it to kind of our backlog and I can talk it over with the team because that's a really good idea for sure.
Yeah, and I think things like our if we have known um vendors and their address is in here, if it's possible to build that in as a drop down,
Hmm.
I'm just thinking of how I interact with the FMPS system that I
Hmm.
have access to, which is kind of
Right,
the
right,
very like high level system.
right.
There is a drop down feature to a lot of
Uh-huh.
the ways that I look things up there, so I do think that would be useful. um and even thinking, like, if a vendor physically moves, like, I have to submit a change of address for them. Is
Hmm.
that the kind of thing I can do in this app, or is that still going to be like a paper situation with finance officer?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that isn't supported by the app at this time, but I'll take a note.
It is like a not a very common thing. I've had to
Right,
do it,
right.
I would say, a couple of times.
Sure.
And then creating a new vendor too. That's probably same story.
Yep, same story.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for asking. So real quick,
Hi.
I'm gonna finish this up. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, how do you attach supporting documents like the invoice, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, that
Yeah,
sort of thing?
right here. So keep scrolling down so you can type anything you want here, additional details, and then here's where you can attach
Okay,
any documents you want, right? So
okay,
just, right, so I have like sample invoices here, so you can select multiple ones.
okay.
So you can attach a bunch of documents here if you need it. Um, Real quick. So right now, the app does not support Exhibit A, B, or encumbrances. Is kind of the limitation there. Just want to say that. I know they're working to allow that eventually, but in its current state, it's just kind of for the limited 2 funding strips and then 5 invoices or less or fewer. Okay, and then here, so you can attach files here, right? So like your invoices or anything you want to attach here. Here it kind of shows you the approval status, right? So this will be updated as we go along. So right now we're just in draft. Let's say, like, oh, I don't know who the program director is for this, or, you just have to go to a meeting or something. You can always click save. Thanks a little bit. And now it's saved here. And then I can click this pencil button here and come back in and edit it. See right now nothing's editable. And you close this, you go back to the link, right? Here's my demo Eddie 5-18. So you guys, this is in like my inbox. So if you guys won't see this because it's only for me right now. Right, and now like, oh, right, I gotta come back to it. I'll click the pencil button, took me back up, but now I'll just put myself for a kind of ease of, right? So these are kind of the approvers, right? And then finance director if it's needed, and then, right, deputy commissioner of finance if anything's over 100K, and then commissioner if anything's over the 250. Right, so if these totals were higher, these wouldn't be grayed out, but right now they are. So, you can choose anybody in the city here, right, just based on this lookup form. And then, right, if there's a ship to or anything else, but none of these are required. So then you have to make sure you save it because we're still in draft, and then you can click this button. Right now I can't click it until you save it, and then you can submit for approval. There's also this copy to a new draft feature, right? If you're making a lot of them or some things are similar, you can copy your form, right, for the vendor address, etc., for that to start a new form with the data. Just kind of a quick shortcut for you. We'll get to the comments in a little bit. So right now I'm going to submit this for approval. It's going to go to the first step here, which I just assigned to myself, but I want to show you guys what that looks like real quick. So here, right, I'm at the inbox. You always have to reload it. It doesn't really, takes a second to refresh. But now it says, right, jump down to here, it says pending program approval, right? So it's waiting for the program person that I put in, which was myself. So I'm going to get an email here, which I'll show you guys. Don't mind all of my tabs. Open. So here's the email, right? Automated new EPF submitted for approval. So, right, this is what the approver is going to get, right? So you won't see this necessarily. It's going to be, this is what's sent, right? And then the approver is going to have to, it's in their email, they have to click this link to respond to the approval request. So I'm just showing you so like you kind of understand the process, what it's going to look like going forward, right? So if you need to follow up with somebody, it's like, hey, check your email for this. They have to approve it. So taking this Power Automated, it's called, you don't have to worry about that, but this is what they're going to see, right? So they can just kind of see the title, the date, and then if they actually want to review the form, they have to click this little link right here. Just click link to review the submitted EPF. I'll just click that, show you what happens. Kind of loads up the app. And then here's everything we just submitted, right? And so now I'm reviewing it, right? So it looks good, 1,000, 1,000 for 2. If you want, there's this comment button up here, and you can actually comment. It shouldn't be quantity 2, the apostrophe, and then you can tag it, right? So it's just kind of a comment feature. And then anything you type in here is going to send an email to the person you tag. You can also tag multiple people, right? So these are the comments, and then show you the email really quick. If it comes, well, maybe you'll see it pop up, but it'll send an email. And right, you can kind of talk through here, right? Or Sarah, I think you were saying, right, you had a question on, what's the vendor code or something like that, right? We can talk it through in the comments here. But let's say it looks good. I'm happy with it. We can say it looks good. So then the approver has to come back to this Power Automate form here. They can approve or reject it. And if it's rejected, it's sent back, and then the person could edit it and resubmit it. There's comments here. So you can say what the problem is, or it's optional. You don't have to type something in here. So now I have approved it. So that's done. And then I will get another email saying it was approved and is sent to the finance officer for review. And then, so this is the finance officer, the second step of the process. So real quick, I'll go back to the app. I actually closed it, so I got to reopen it. I just want to show you all what it looks like. So go back to demo mode. So see now it says submitted to finance officer down here. So this is a little check mark saying the program person approved it. And then it's going to be to the finance officer. Then the finance officer is going to get this email saying you've been tagged, or this is the comment one. Here it says you've been tagged in a comment, so we're good there. The email is a little slow. My other demo is coming right away. But anyway, they'll get, the finance officer is going to get an email. So now I went back to the finance officer dashboard. We'll just do a little shortcut here. So the email the finance officer will get will link directly to this form here. The finance officer has the option, they can edit the form here, they can submit for approval or return it to the initiator, right? So let's say they actually know the vendor code, they can type it in, maybe. They can be like, I added the code you know, and they can continue this comment thread here. They could save it, and then let's say everything looks good, right? They have the option, they can download the attachments and look at them. Let's say they're good, they submit it for approval. This is pending finance approval. Let's see where I need to go for that. See, now it says approved. And a little laggy here. So now it says, hello, following EPF received all required approvals, ready to submit for processing. I'll click the link in the email. Now we're in the send to clerk mode here. So everything was good, it's passed all approvals. So now we need to assign it to a clerk. And this is like pretty far down the food chain, so it might not be totally related to you guys, but I just want you to see like the whole process, right? So it's kind of a final check off, but you have to assign it to a clerk in this final part. So I'll assign it to myself as a clerk. I just want to show you guys real quick. And you can mark it as urgent for the clerks to look at, or maybe not. Right, and here you still have the option, you can kind of update any information, save it, right? Still have the comments. And then at this point, right, you still have the option, you can always return it to the initiator if major updates need to be made, or if it all looks good, send the clerk. And then once we're sent to the clerk, right, so this little, internet's a little slow today, but now it says sent to clerk. And then everything will live in the clerk dashboard here. And so the clerks can come in here, and then once it's actually submitted, you can mark it as submitted. Just this little button here, just it's kind of a status update saying it has been submitted or not. Just to kind of, you know, finish up the, the item. And then here's, right, it says status submitted to FMPS. If you click this little bar button right here, you can have, shows you the kind of all the invoices, right? So this is what I typed in 001 for 1,000, and then 002, right? And so then you click the pencil button here, you can actually type in what date it was paid, right? Just kind of for status tracking, so any days here. And we'll just type it in. There's no checks here or anything. So it's just kind of more for like internal tracking and status reporting. And then I finish that one up, and then once it's all paid, you can click mark as paid. The clerk will click it, sorry.
And would we be able to see that?
Yes. Yep, so you can see everything here. Well, I think only the clerks can see it, but if you come into, as long as you initiated it, right, it's all kind of, you can see everything here. So see where it says paid. And then that's kind of the end of the food chain. There's nothing else. That's the end of the EPF process currently right now. So that's kind of, let me just go through my notes and make sure mark is paid and final status. So I know we only have 5 minutes now, but I put the link in the chat for this app. And if you all want just to do a quick, go click that link and then click enter demo mode. And I want you all just to kind of, you know, submit a quick one while I'm on the call here with you and make sure the app kind of works for you, and then just to like get you kind of clicking along really quick. Baron goes into the Teams chat, clicks the link, and enter demo mode. I think I only said it at the start. When you click the link the very first time ever, it's going to ask you to approve some connections with Microsoft or something within the app, and just hit approve or allow or whatever the verbiage is there. And then once you're in demo mode, hit the plus button. And then just put like, for vendor name, just put like demo and like your name. Right, so like Donna, you put like demo, Donna. And then just for speed's sake, feel free to add anything, play around with it, but scroll past everything and just assign everything to me and do like Edwin McDonough. Do program director and finance officer for me. Like assign it to me, and then I'll go and approve it, and you can see kind of how everything works. Like I'll go and approve everything in this demo mode, and you'll see like the emails come through, and we can, you can just see kind of how it works from your end as well. Once you assign it to me, then you hit save up in this corner, the left corner. Once you hit save, then submit for approval. I'm getting all the emails, so I'm seeing who's doing it. Thanks, Sarah. All right, so you should, like Sarah, you should see it down here, like in your in process one.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, you have to refresh. It's being a little finicky today. And then after this, I'll go through and I'll like approve them, and then you guys can and then it'll like go to me and I'll approve it as a finance officer, and you guys will receive like the final email saying it's been approved, and you'll see all the attachments and kind of what it looks like, right, from the demo. Right, so you'll get this email and you'll see like, right. So you can see that and play around. We have 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes left. Does anyone have any quick questions? Thoughts, comments?
I was wondering if we can see, once this leaves CDPH approval, we can't see it beyond that, right?
Let me get back to the app. Sorry, I lost it. So you can always see it, in this admin view. But maybe I'm misunderstanding your question, right? So like once it's actually like submitted to FMPS, you mean?
Yeah, so part of the trouble that I have had in getting stuff paid in the past is that like CDPH approves it, and then I'll like 60 or 30 days later, I'll be like, the vendor never got the check, and they're like, well, we sent it. And then it's this whole back and forth of going to the comptroller's office, it's sitting on someone's desk, or they denied it but never told us. And so like that's where like some hangups happen.
Got it. Yeah, that's what the clerk dashboard's for. I know that we're still in the process of like, making the clerks kind of update it. So that's kind of phase 1.5 here, the next part. But correct. So this is kind of for our internal process, but yeah, we'll still be kind of facing those same challenges, in the short term here until we get to the next phase of this to get the clerks on board.
But it's nice, at least they'll have it all in one spot.
Exactly. And yeah, we can like kind of bug them with the hard data here.
How do I send it to you? Because I put you in as finance officer.
Perfect. Yep. So then you'll hit the save button.
Right.
And then at the top, you should be able to submit for approval.
Oh.
Demanding work.
Yeah, it's a couple of clicks through that. Yeah. Good question. Thank you. And like I said, I'm available to you guys to help you, once you actually start using this. So feel free, right, if you have any questions at all, message me, email me. I'm happy to hop on a quick call and just talk anything through with you. So I'm here to kind of help, the rollout go as smooth as possible. And this is actually live right now. So, we're going to start, the official testing is like early June, and then like start using it July. But if you guys want to start using it right now for anything, feel free to start using it. Just make sure you're not in demo mode for anything that's live and real.
Okay.
All right. Any questions from anyone else? Otherwise, that's all I got, everybody.
And how would
And just
if it's
okay.
live now,
Mhm.
because all I can see is demo mode when I go into it.
So just hit exit demo mode, this yellow button. And then it's like, it's real. So the demo mode
Oh.
was like, it won't actually send it for
Oh,
real.
okay. Okay.
But if it's not demo mode, like this
Then
way,
it's real. Okay.
it's real. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if you do a demo mode, it'll have to remake it, unfortunately. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate your
you.
time. Have a good day.
Awesome. I'm just going to drop some more things in the chat as I think of them. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
feel free. Thanks, Sarah.